it got to about 2016, 2017. Somehow I still managed to keep my job. And I thought, right, I need to change something here. If this is what my future is, I need to try and get better at it, mainly because I was broke. So I enrolled onto as many courses as I could. I consumed YouTube content. I read books. So we're talking gap selling, asking questions to Sam the way, spin selling, financial prospecting, all of these sorts of books. I just became obsessed with just trying to, try and find the answer, because I was like, well, surely there must be, some sort of map, some sort of blueprint almost of what cold calling is. I spent the next couple of years trying to kind of master my skill, level up. In 2022, I went out and did it myself. I decided to become a fractional SDR. So basically, I would work with companies and help them, start their process from scratch and say, okay, what is it you're currently doing? Help them speak to their prospects, build these conversations up, and ultimately book meetings. And since June 24, I've started Blueprint Sales, which is basically a company which helps people do this. And more importantly, identify some of the areas which, people struggle with prospecting. So, one thing I do bang on about constantly, and people are probably bored of hearing it by now, is it's not all about the meeting. The real value is actually in the conversation itself and following up, which, anybody who does cold calling knows the real value in following someone up after 3, 6, 9, 12 months. And that's what you can build if you consistently build pipeline and have conversations daily. Mm-hmm. So to give you an idea of what I'm doing today, I've decided to give myself a bit of a challenge. I'm calling a fresh vertical, which I don't typically do. So I thought, you know what, I'm already uncomfortable. Let's just kind of dial it up one notch. Why not? Let's go to failure. So I'm calling recruitment industry. I'm calling sales leaders. I've got a fresh script, which honestly I've never used before. So it could be the worst script in the world. I'm sure you'll tell me, I didn't even get a chance to practice it with AI. So it literally could be the worst script ever. I just thought, I'll string it together. And I just thought, I'll try that. In terms of my process and what I use, nice and minimal. I use Full Enrich to gather my data. And I use a few different dialers, but the one I use at the moment is Trellis. And then I use Monday.com as my CRM, literally just as like an organizational tool to make sure I'm following people up at the right time. So, real lean architecture, we're talking about £150 a month all in. So I like to keep it as simple as possible. I'm a big believer you don't need all of this fancy tech until you've really nailed the message and you've really got that process down. So, interested to see what today brings. And, it'll either be a really great day for calling or a really bad day.